A Dinacharya helps us to cleanse our body so that we can process prana and convert it into ojas, our immune system, and tejas, the light that shines within. Our Dinacharya removes ama, or undigested food, from the digestive tract, and it helps to prepare our senses to be present and in the moment. A Dinacharya relies heavily on Shakti Kriya, practices that cleanse the tissues of the body from the inside out. A neti pot is part of a Dinacharya, so is a tongue scraper. Even cleaning your ears and brushing your teeth are parts of Dinacharya. We can add in additional practices to our Dinacharya to help to meet us where we are. Adding in certain pranayamas or kriya practices to help balance and cleanse the nadi channels within the body can be extremely helpful. Incorporating pratyahara practices or asana practices can also be helpful in balancing the body and the mind. Ayurveda says that we should practice a daily Dinacharya in the morning and in the evening. And each of these is going to have different practices depending on your dosha and the time of year it is. And for example, my Dinacharya looks pretty simple. I wake up in the morning and I use the restroom, and in that I empty both bowel and bladder. I then wash my hands and scrape my tongue, I brush my teeth, and I wash my face. I could benefit from bathing my eyes in rose water because I am primarily Pitta dosha. After I finish cleansing my mouth and my nose and my eyes, I might abhinyanga. Some people neti pot and some people use nasya oil in their nose and sinuses. I do this from time to time, but I'm careful not to do it too much because I have a tendency to dry out. Abhinyanga is Ayurvedic self-massage, and I find that to be especially beneficial in the times of year when I'm feeling more depleted or tamasic. For me, that happens to be in the winter and the early spring when it's cold. Everybody has a different way of expressing themselves through their physical incarnation. And the tridoshic system gives us tools to evaluate our physical embodiment and the way our physical embodiment reacts to certain external stimuli. A Dinacharya in the morning helps us to wake up and feel refreshed and vitalized. A Dinacharya in the evening helps us to wind down and ground before we go to bed. As a yoga teacher, you can educate your students about their dosha and the practice of Dinacharya. You can give them resources and maybe even teach them certain practices like Kapalabhati, or gentle practices like Chakrabakasana, cat-cow, thread the needle, and child's pose. Scraping their tongue, cleaning out their ears, flossing their teeth, brushing their teeth. These are all excellent practices for anyone to incorporate into their daily routine. You might even suggest a quiet contemplative pratyahara practice to help them ground and center before they start the day. Be careful to avoid prescribing any supplements or foods or even teas. This is outside of the scope of work of a yoga teacher or a yoga therapist. It is very important to maintain your scope of work, whether you're a yoga teacher or a yoga therapist. It's totally fine for us to educate our students and our clients. It is not okay for us to prescribe anything to our students that is taken orally or purchased at a store. Even prescribing herbed teas is not okay. We don't know what pharmaceutical drugs our clients are on, and we don't have the expertise that an Ayurvedic practitioner would have. When in doubt, refer your clients to someone who has the expertise to give them specific directions if they're looking for something more than you can give. Resist the urge to feel pressured by clients to give them more than you're comfortable giving them. When I was in yoga therapy school, we talked about this a lot. And one of the things that came up from time to time was that yoga teachers wanted to suggest to their students or clients that they could take turmeric or garlic. The problem is that turmeric and garlic are powerful blood thinners. And if the practitioner is already on an aspirin regimen or blood thinners or has any sort of cardiac counterindication, it is extremely important that they not take these types of supplements. We are not experts in allopathic medicine unless we are. If you're a nurse or a doctor or a psychotherapist, you're in a different situation than many teachers who are just teaching and practicing yoga. Yoga therapists are not allowed to prescribe either. We can educate and we can provide resources. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if our clients are looking for a more specific routine or regimen that is prescriptive in nature, we need to refer them to an Ayurvedic practitioner or an Ayurvedic yoga therapist so that we can maintain proper boundaries and stay within our scope of work. Dinacharyas are great for many people, and some find them overwhelming. When I'm working with a client or a student to develop a Dinacharya, I typically give it to them in small doses. The first week, I might just suggest that they start scraping their tongue, or maybe that they take and practice Kapalabhati for 4 minutes after they are ready and about to start their day. If this goes well, the next week I add on, slowly giving them practices one by one to help them to cleanse and clarify their body and mind. When they become overwhelmed, we back off, and I always look to the client to help to guide any directives or educational opportunities. Remember, it's never about us, it's always about serving the client and meeting with them where they are at. If you recognize that you have an agenda or that you want to push your client in one direction or another, take a step back and sit with that for a moment. Ask yourself why you feel the need to be married to an agenda. Is there an attachment that's coming up for you? Maybe it's part of your own personal material. This is Svadhyaya, and it's an important part of being an advanced teacher. Feel free to work with your clients and help them to discover practices that support balance in their life. In Ayurveda, we call this Dinacharya. And just by creating a group of practices that one does daily, we can see huge results. I hope you found this video helpful. Be well, yogis. Namaste.